How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into 14P Fantasy. I am your host, Justin Wright. Today, we are talking Dynasty Fallers in January ADP. So a little while back, you probably remember, we did risers and fallers for the whole 2021 season. Today, we are just talking guys that had the biggest ADP changes, the biggest negative ADP changes in value, let's say, over just January ADP. So as you expect with the season ending, it's heavy on running backs. We're only going to touch on 5. All 5 are running backs. Of the top 10 guys, according to DLF, that lost the most value, 7 of the top 10 are running back, which makes sense. You know, people, this is the time to sell RB, to be perfectly honest. So I understand what's going on here. Before we get into the 5 names, check out the Patreon page, guys. Patreon.com/14P Fantasy. 3 tiers, $2, $5, $9. $2, you can help donate. So me and Marco can keep doing this for you all season long. $5, you get all of our rankings year round. That means updated rookie rankings for every year. Dynasty rankings that are also tiered. You also get preseason rankings, in-season rankings. So there's a whole lot you get for that $5. And then $9, we will actually break down one of your Dynasty teams for you. So check that out, guys. Head on over to Patreon and search 14 Personnel. Also, if you like the video, if you like what I'm saying, if you like what Marco's saying, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video if you're so inclined to do it. All right, guys, let's get into it. Number 1, the player that lost the most value. And it's worth noting, you know, a change from pick 5 to pick 10 is probably a bigger value drop than, say, pick, 100 to 150. So it's not necessarily a 1-for-1 on ADP change. That's not how the value, I think, is determined. So keep that in mind. But the player that lost the most value in January is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's going from pick 38, so beginning of the 4th round, back to pick 60. So he is now, an end of the 5th round pick, if I'm doing math correctly. And I get it. He is a player. I don't roster him anywhere because he shouldn't have been on your team. I think heading into the season, I think he was overvalued then, and we saw how it played out. He was fine this year when he was healthy, but the problem is Jerick McKinnon, Darrell Williams, Derek Gore, all of them looked as good, if not better, than CEH. And that is a huge problem for a running back that is heading into year 3, has not proven to be a difference maker, was clearly the wrong pick for the Chiefs to make. And even when he was healthy in the playoffs, they did not lean on him. Obviously, Jerick McKinnon was rolling, but just the phrase Jerick McKinnon was outplaying Clyde Edwards-Helaire says a lot. So CEH is a guy that is going to, I think, continue to fall in value year over year. And if you're still rostering him, I'm probably not trading him right now. What are you going to get for him? I've seen him go much later than pick 60 in startups we've done recently. So I think his ADP continues to fall this offseason. I'm holding until you get closer to the season and that hype kind of starts to build back up his value. And then I am happy to trade CEH away. Next on the list, we have Ezekiel Elliott. Again, he's 26 years old now, gonna be 27. Dropped 18 slots from pick 31 to pick 49, right on the edge of pick 50 there. And again, another guy where this makes a lot of sense. Zeke is over the hill in terms of elite fantasy production. And you're going to say, okay, but Justin, he was, RB6 this year, RB7, whatever the hell your scoring was. I don't care because he was RB17 in points per game. And he has been each of the last 2 years. So that elite performance, that elite, talent, it's not there anymore. He's still a very good running back. But in Dynasty, he is clearly a depreciating asset. There's no way around it. The best time to trade him was 2 years ago. We all know that. The next best time to trade him is right now because he's only going to continue to drop in value. One of these other running backs just had a career season and he dropped in value. And he's younger than Zeke. So keep that in mind. He's going to be 27, 28 coming up, in the next 2 seasons. It's fallen apart quickly for him. And yes, he's been available, but Would you rather have, 12 games of DeAndre Swift or 17 games of Zeke? I mean, again, nobody's making that trade, but that's just for the argument of the best ability is availability. It's not necessarily true because you can pivot off of bad running backs or guys that aren't producing at an elite level. So that's what Zeke is. All right, guys, moving on to the next player here. And this one, obviously, this is an obvious one. James Robinson, 23, going on 24 years. Oh, 24 years old. That would make more sense. He's dropped 38 picks in ADP. The reason he's not at the top of this list is he dropped from pick 57 back to pick 95. So that drop, he already wasn't touted or considered a high value dynasty asset. So the drop isn't, even a large drop really doesn't mean much for value wise. James Robinson may not come back to being, a relevant fantasy asset the rest of his career. I mean, that's a real possibility. So with Travis Etienne healthy, James Robinson coming off of an Achilles injury, who knows when? Maybe it'll be the start of the season. My guess is it might not be till the end. You may not see him for at least a year. He's going to continue to slide in these startup drafts. This is not a 1 year dip and he'll be back. Travis Etienne, Trent Baalke is still there, the guy that drafted him, and yes, Urban Meyer, but the GM is still in place somehow. They're going to feed Etienne. Again, they don't burn a first-round draft pick on somebody and not expect to use him. And now they have the reasoning to not use James Robinson. He's not going to be on the field, and even if he comes back, he's most likely not going to have the same athleticism, which already wasn't a strength of his. So James Robinson, clearly on the decline. He's a guy, if you can convince someone to send a second-round pick on the back of, well, look how fast Cam Akers came back. Great. Go ahead and do that. I think that's a great move. I'd trade him for a third, and that people may say, oh, that's bad value. I don't care. I typically want out from every running back that isn't an elite athlete or doesn't have elite draft capital coming off of an Achilles injury. So James Robinson, see you later. He's off the few teams I do roster him still. Next on the list, speaking of Cam Akers, is Darryl Henderson, 24 going on 25. He dropped 47 spots in ADP this year from pick 69.5 down to pick 116. And yeah, Cam Akers is back. I mean, has Cam Akers been incredible? Not even a little bit. He's been fine. But Cam Akers is coming back from an Achilles injury, has shown he still has burst, he has agility, he has speed, he has power. He's basically proven he can do it all, and he's back. And on top of it, Darryl Henderson was already phased out of the offense with Sony Michel. I think we've probably seen the best from Darryl Henderson, and it was fun. The start of this season, he was spectacular. He got banged up yet again. It's kind of what he does. And now he's going to be a little bit older. Cam Akers is back in the mix. Darryl Henderson might be a nice handcuff, but I mean, that's really all he is. If you're the Cam Akers owner, I'm happy to trade for Henderson. I really am. I don't think Sony Michel's back with the Rams. I think it is Henderson as the backup next year. So he becomes a nice handcuff piece in Dynasty, but that's about it. You're giving up a third-round pick for him, maybe a future third, like a 2023 third. I'm all for that. That's a good move in my mind. That's a smart move. But his days as a feature back, which is really half a season, those days are gone. They are out the window. And next on the list, and this is probably the most surprising, I think people are going to be shocked by this one, it is Joe Mixon. Again, he's 25 years old, coming off of a career year. He is in the Super Bowl in, the next 4 days, 5 days, whatever, as the lead back for a fantastic offense. And Joe Mixon fell 8 spots in ADP. He went from pick 10 to pick 18. And this is one of those where I don't think the wheels are about to fall off. I don't think there's any chance that happens, at least next season. You probably got 2 more great years of Joe Mixon, I want to say. He's falling in ADP just because this is Dynasty football, and you hit 24, you hit 25, you are going to drop an ADP. It does not matter. The crazy thing is, pick 10, he was a first-round pick, had a career season, and is still continuing to lose value. If you're a contender, Joe Mixon is a must-target running back for you if that owner is not an immediate contender like yourself or is just saying, oh my God, he's 25, I got to get out from underneath him. Again, the goal is to win championships in fantasy football, especially in Dynasty redraft, all of them. But Joe Mixon is a guy that can help you do that. And if he's going to start taking these little drops in value, I'm going to pick him up along the way. And I'm not a huge Joe Mixon fan, but if he's going to start becoming a second, a third round pick, maybe by the start of next year, that's a slam dunk pick for a guy that's most likely a top 10 running back next season and has a chance to repeat it, 3 straight years in 2023 as well. So Joe Mixon, I'm in on him. He's a guy, he dropped in value. I'm still going to go trade for him. I'm not too concerned in the next, short bit here. All right, guys, that is all we had. Again, if you like what you're seeing, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video if you got the time to do it. Also, check out that Patreon page. Go ahead and donate over there if you think, me and Mark are worth giving us, $2 a month. That's easy. That's not even a cup of coffee. We can't get lunch with that. So if you got an extra change, we'll call it, head on over to Patreon. Check that out, guys. All right. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.